When I told everybody I'm gonna do this, YouTube was 4 months old when I started my show. So like, it wasn't like people, like what you're doing now, people are like, oh, podcasts can hit.
Right.
Like it's known. When I was like, I'm doing this, people thought I lost my mind. Like it can't be overstated.
Yeah.
Like my best friend Brandon and my dad, and my cousin Bobby, the core four of us who were running the liquor store at the time, I was the guy. I was buying the wine, I was selling the wine, I was marketing, I was on the floor, and now I'm taking all this time to record in front of a camera and put it on the internet. That would be like me telling you right now, listen, the three of us have to go to Mars, set up a lemonade stand, and it's gonna work. It was that far-fetched to them. And so, yeah, but for me, my whole life, this may really resonate with you and a lot of the audience. I'm almost like reverse Allen Iverson. Like, I like the practice. I like the crap that no one sees.
It's a great reference.
It's a really important part to me. I enjoy when it's small. Like, I'm doing Twitch right now. Live streaming, are you doing it right now actually, Dustin? A little something, in and out. But like, in my office, I'm sitting in my office doing 10 hours of meetings and Twitch is running in the background, 90% on mute.
Yeah.
And people are watching it, but not a lot. Like, why would you watch that? It's like almost ASMR for entrepreneurs. I unmute a bunch, I do questions, I give away stuff, we hang out. But I watch it, I'm like, okay, hundreds of people are watching now, but I already know in my brain, tens of thousands of people are gonna watch me go about my business day in 6 years. And like, that gets me off more than anything. I love the 100 views, not the millions of views I have on social.
Right.
I'm almost like, it's almost like why I think I love the Jets so much. The chase to finally get it is more interesting to me than getting it. When the Yankees won the World Series, I stopped watching the Yankees.
Yeah.
But like the climb, the behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's multiple layers to everything you just said, because we can go into the Jets thing where it's like, when you finally get to the result, your process has been all the way a part of like, is the fulfillment gonna be there, or are you gonna look back and be like, damn, the process was truly the best part?
I already know the process is the best part.
But you haven't bought it yet.
I know,
But sitting there
I genuinely
with a green suit on,
Yeah.
signing the piece of paper,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be like, that process was tight. You're gonna be like,
I believe that is at 48. I believe that I'm very confident telling you that I already know. Like, to the point where like I'm gonna say this may sound weird to a lot of people. I'm curious if I get some DMs or emails about this from people that have experienced this. I'm actually so extreme on process over the thing that I sometimes almost get like this weird, not depression, but like, I don't know, I'm gonna try to articulate it because it's what I do, but like, I'm almost weirdly scared of how not great that moment might be. Almost a letdown, like, I don't know, I'm so into the chase that getting it is like, all right. Like it's actually, I think it's a little fucked up and I'm working on this. I'm trying to be better at smelling the roses and enjoying. My brother, who's 11 years younger than me, has been very wise on this with me my whole life. Like, we would just do these things when he was 22, we started the company, and like a lot of great things have happened over the last 14 years. And like, he's like, bro, like good things would happen. We sold a piece of our company to Stephen Ross, who owns the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
That was like a meaningful event at the time.
University of Michigan guy.
I mean, that's right. Big event, like changed the course. Mainly I was very enthralled to do it because I knew for AJ it would be money that really changed his life at that point, being in his young 20s. Like, it was a real catalyst. Like, it hits the bank account. It looks weird when you've got those kind of dollars in your account and you've had it.
Yeah, looks like a phone number with a name.
And I was like, all right, like I don't know, like I didn't even I don't know, like it's very consistent in my life. I'm obsessed with the chase, and I think a lot of people listening can resonate. Other people enjoy the winning it over and over, and it is about the trophies and the success. I like the process, and by the way, I'd like to be a little bit better about smelling the roses and enjoying these big moments. But I just like the game. I like the practice. I like the grind.
When you say you work on it, how do you work on it?
Meaning, how am I working on trying to enjoy the rose? By talking to myself about it. I think we all do that. Like, I think everyone has an inner dialogue. We all talk to ourselves about shit. Every one of us right now, us in front of the camera, the crew behind the camera, and definitely everybody who's watching, we know some shit right now that we wish we were doing better, or something that's bothering us. And you know this, we all talk ourselves into a tipping point where we do something about it. I try to get better and better at fixing it or making it better happen faster than dragging it out. That's what I'm working on. Things are contextual. So I think a thing that people beat people up about, this is why cancel culture is so flawed. People trying to rewind shit from 29 years ago and yell at people for what is a social norm now, shit changes. So when I was making videos in 2008 and being like, yo, you gotta go hard at 9 p.m. to midnight, at that point, everyone was out of a job. The economy collapsed. And the internet was exploding. I was right. When someone like brings it up now, 15 years later, and be like, oh, people were burning out. I'm like, people didn't even know what the fuck burning out was then. People weren't worried about burnout. People were worried about fucking paying their bills. So I think a lot of what I look back at, what works for me, that I highly talk to a lot of content creators, influencers about is like, never say something you don't believe. The amount of people that say shit that they don't believe in, only with the hope of going viral, is a fucking disaster. No million views is worth looking back at it and being like, you're an idiot. So the reason I don't have a lot of answers to your question is because everything that's ever come out of my mouth, I mean. So I feel good there.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting is to look back at context. I think the things that I think about is, I think the middle, purple, is the game. I think America's gotten way too red and way too blue. And purple is the magic. So when I look at things back, sometimes I didn't create a hedge or a context point to my overall thought. So I'll give you a great one that's happening now. I'll break it fully down since we have a minute. As you two may know, and as some of the people who are watching who have seen my content, I believe in volume of content. I believe it's crazy for you to do this show with me and not put out 150 clips from the show. But when I say 150, people take it, and I don't do a good enough job to say not 150 on Instagram, 150. For example, I think 12 YouTube Shorts posts from this are important because if you title it properly, YouTube's the second biggest search engine, and somebody might watch a clip from this in 3 years and discover you guys. Because YouTube works differently than TikTok. Then there's TikTok, then there's Facebook. Do you guys post clips on Facebook?
Yeah.
More. Because it's a supply and demand issue right now. I'm pretty sure you don't post on Pinterest. It's probably unlikely that you post on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I would argue, is your biggest opportunity for your audience and how you roll. So when I think but I'll say in a clip, I'll look back and be like, post 40 times a day. And people take it as like in their one channel and they're like, that's stupid, or I don't get it, or I can't. Another thing that I've been thinking through, for example, because I've been speaking of volume of content for 7 years, is I take for granted that I've made good content. You're making a good show. It has the potential to have 7 or 12 or 15 pieces of content. I think of things now more, and I've always thought of it this way, but I didn't articulate it, that it is a quality quantity framework. You should post 40 times a day over 7 different platforms if you have quality. Posting for the sake of posting is not gonna do anything for anyone. So I think about those kind of things where in the speed that I talk, because I get hyper and excited, and the fact that sometimes it's limited, you only have limited time, we're trying to get to a lot of stuff. Sometimes I don't finish out all the sentences or all the context. And that sometimes out of context, I'm like, oh crap, I wish I added 2 more sentences because I know the audience took this out of context. There was, when people were making fun of me of like, I was like, imagine your family being dead. And that went super viral in TikTok. Yeah. I laugh at that because kids will roll up on me in the airport, like, imagine your family's dead. And I'm like, I realized that they didn't get the full context of what I was trying to say, which is like, if you actually did, you can imagine how grateful you'll be. But out of context and then clipped or stitched, it can seem a little silly. So it's those full thought out things that I leave on the table at times that I would look back on and be like, I wish I had 3 more sentences of context. Yeah.